Hi guys, welcome to today's video. In today's video, we'll look into a scenario in which Oman forms an empire. And to do this, they expand into their neighbors. And the first thing they do is they line up their border with the United Arab Emirates with troops. And not long after, they decide to launch their full-on invasion as they cross the border into the UAE. With the goal of quickly taking it over. They quickly take over, connecting this area to that area, and then they move in. Quickly moving in and taking Dubai and other areas. And then they move north and take over the rest of the country. And well, now they annex it. And well, they decide to go after Yemen because there can only be one nation with men in it, I guess. They don't want Yemen. Well, that makes sense. With them now advancing across Yemen's border. And they quickly take over this island. And then they cross the border and they start moving along the coast. With them having a few small advances over here and over there. And well, they cross the border. And then they move over here. And they also advance here because there's nothing really defending it. And as they start advancing here, this full area managed to basically withdraw, except a big chunk never got out. And quickly they move to the port of Aden, which is around here, and take it over. And then they move into Sanais and take it over. And then they surrender, so let's see the people of Yemen, with one nation being against this. The nation of Saudi Arabia is completely against their empire. And quickly makes that fact well known as they launch an invasion over multiple fronts. And they launch one over here, a big front into Oman, and they start taking over their lands in the UAE, including Dubai. And they start pushing them south. And they quickly cut off this area and take it over. With them taking Aden over the city. And they take over the city of Sinai. And quickly this area falls. And with them managing to cross the full border. But at this point, Oman launches a counter-offensive, quickly pushing them back in their direct lands. All the way to what they hold in Yemen, and then they start moving to kick them out of their holding on the UAE. Quickly, they manage to succeed in this. And then comes for the last operation, as they cross in to take lands. And well, these lands quickly fall. And with this, they continue their advance, and they invade Saudi Arabia. Now them advancing from over here and up the coast. And they also advance a bit into the desert, with them making one encirclement, and then they continue this advance. But it starts to stall out, so they launch an offensive like this to try to strengthen it, and then one manages to break out down here. And well, Saudi Arabia has to withdraw, which is what they do. And while in the southern front, you can see them starting to gain lots of land. And then they start moving up, taking cities like Mecca, then Jeddah. Which they manage to take both. And at this point, they decide to launch an offensive here and over here. With Saudi Arabia withdrawing all the way to here. And then this front launches a spearhead all the way to Riyadh, which they manage to take. And well, Saudi Arabia is pretty quickly forced into surrender. So let's see the parts of their land along with a bunch of their Red Sea coast. And at this point, Oman, with the goal of taking control of the Persian Gulf, decides to invade Iran. For one specific reason, the Strait of Hormuz. as controlling that means you control the access and exit from the Persian Gulf. And they quickly launch an offensive. They quickly take over land, and they move over, taking mostly the southern lands. And well, then they move north and take more. Iran is stunned by how fast it goes, and they fail to hold back against it. And eventually here they decide for peace. You may be wondering, is a peace treaty that harsh? Not at all. Well, kinda harsh. As they take over these lands, including up to there, with them taking over most of the front. And yes, not harsh simply because Iran keeps most of their land, but harsh in the sense they lose a lot of valuable land. And well, at this point, the invasion of Pakistan begins, and well, we all know how that's going to go. Well, it goes pretty well, and it's not really a surprise. With crossing the border, well, of course they cross the border. It's their best way of getting in. With them advancing past it and advancing towards Karachi, and they started advancing north a bit to make this easier to hold. And they managed to advance to here. As the Battle of Karachi breaks out, forces here have to pull back. And well, Pakistan takes one last stand and pushes them back. But at this point, they started advancing over here towards India's border, which they managed to get to, and then they managed to secure these land. Quickly, they set up the encirclement of, well, Karachi, but forces here decide to withdraw to get to that front. But it falls, and then they continue advancing up towards Islamabad, and they manage to take the city. With Pakistan in ruins and devastation from this, they are forced into peace. Yes, they are forced into peace. Well, these lands are annexed by the Oman Empire. And while these lands are withdrawn from, and you may be wondering why they take such little land, considering they could have taken all the coast. Well, A is to make the borders look better, and B is because, well, they take Karachi and the land surrounding it, which are valuable enough. And they've already expanded a lot, meaning it's going to be difficult to hold on to the territories they conquered. And that's pretty much all for today's video. Please like, subscribe, and comment. Wild Mapper out, and until you subscribe. Bye, guys!